Economists describe inflation as a tax on consumer spending. What do you see as the impact on the local economy?
I like to look at inflation not necessarily as much as an increase in the cost of living, but as an erosion of the value of money. So money is becoming less valuable, and it reveals itself in the form of higher prices. And how those higher prices will affect people will vary depending on where you lie on the income spectrum. The numbers that we saw last year of a 0% inflation rate are probably not going to apply this year. It's going to be very difficult, especially because the fact that we have these two Bermudas. We have in-person households versus remote households. I'm one of the fortunate people that I work remotely. So my salary hasn't been adversely affected, as opposed to those persons who work in person in the hospitality and retail. Those folks are going to bear the brunt of financial hardship as a result of rising inflation. And I'll define hardship as the ability to maintain your current standard of living. So with these two Bermudas, the real issue for both the government and the not-for-profit sector and private individuals is how are we going to assist those folks who are, haven't been with an income for a year or more, and there doesn't seem to be any light at the end of the tunnel until at least April when, say, cruise ships return. I don't know that we can put it all on government. They do have a fairly a targeted approach when it came to dealing with the problem during the COVID pandemic with those cash payouts to affected households. So we may have to resurrect that particular policy. But we have to remember that there are mountains of debt coming due in 2022, in April of 2022, and then the following year in 2023. And I think if you take those two lumps of debt together, I think they exceed like $500 million. And so the government is in a bit of a tight squeeze. They may be forced to go back to the capital markets to borrow maybe another couple of $100 million to get those sort of folks in person work over the hump. And we just have to hope and pray that infection levels fall and we can get this recovery underway in earnest, starting, say, in the second quarter of 2022.